you doing today? This is Mr. E, and I'm here in Montgomery, Alabama, and I came here to visit my friend Abby because of the storm there in Clark County, and of course, the electricity and everything is out there in Jackson, Alabama, and we've lost electricity for maybe 2 or 3 days. I understand the lights came on at my place maybe last night, just by checking back there, but I'm here in Montgomery and just taking the time to come out this morning with my morning thoughts. I thought it might be a good time to share, and it's just always a blessing to be able to have this opportunity to use this technology to record my thoughts and to share with people out there, loved ones, and maybe if there's something that God gives me to say that people who might even listen to this, maybe they'll get some nuggets that might help them in their lives. Most of the time when I talk, I don't even know what I'm going to talk about, but I just feel impressed to record. This is something that I do, it's something that I enjoy, and it gives me an opportunity, I guess, to teach in some way, because throughout my life, those people who listen to me know that I was a school teacher for 35 years, and if you're teaching that long, it just becomes a part of you. And so you enjoy doing that which you enjoy doing, okay? So, and I don't really want to make this a job, so I don't necessarily come up with a plan about what I'm going to talk about. Okay, don't want to do no lesson plans no more. I'm getting ready to retire, okay? But I guess I'm developing my own little classroom, okay? Get a chance to talk and mentor and maybe teach someone who is listening. Whether they're listening or not, it's Anthony doing Anthony. Okay, and I've learned to enjoy that. But being here away from the storm, I thought it was really, when I was there during the hurricane, I've gotten to the point now to where my prayers are even different, growing up in the Baptist church and then the Adventist church and what have you for these years, and having a family for years, I consider myself a pretty well-read person as far as spirituality and as far as the Bible is concerned. But now, because I'm beginning to expand my knowledge, expand my education, spirituality, and what have you, outside of one book, I'm beginning to understand that I need to go back and question a whole lot of things that I've taught, a whole lot of things, ways that I lived or whatever. Not saying that I'm perfect, not saying that I'm going to find the answers, but I at least owe myself, just as each one of you owe yourself, the option of broadening your knowledge about life and why you're here, your purpose and what have you. So, in other words, I have gotten outside of the box, and I like to examine things. But still, being a spiritual person that I am, I still look at certain things with that background that is just naturally there, from the years of being in in Christianity, let's put it that way, for lack of a better word. But just looking back at the storm, I said my prayers that night. The lights went out maybe about 10 o'clock, I think. And in my place, there are no windows, so it gets pitch black dark. So I had to make sure I had some candles and what have you during that time. And I could hear the wind. I didn't hear much rain. Usually I can hear the rain just pounding, pounding, pounding on the building. But what I heard was sounds like the ripping and the tearing of tin. That's what it sounded like. And of course it was pitch black, and I was really calm. I didn't even go down into a safety room, I guess. Usually we would get this siren that would come over if it was a tornado or what have you. So I said, well, okay, if I hear the tornado sound, that warning signal that we usually get, I run down into my little safety place. But I stayed there, lying in my bed, and I have an altar there in my place that is filled with pictures of my family and ancestors and people who have died, uncles and aunts and whatever. I have them set all around, and it's sort of like an altar that reminds me of where I came from, who I came from, who I am, and what have you. And I kind of, in my prayer time, I always kind of go through them in my mind and let my ancestors teach and protect me if they can. And even Jesus is in that bunch, so he's an ancestor too, if all of that is true. Okay. So, we have no way of knowing except through the examples and the things that happen in our lives that proves to us that we're on the right track. So I was very much at peace. And the storm was just all around, and I was in pitch black darkness. But for some reason, I was just at peace, knowing that I had done all that I could do. I'm just a man, just like everybody else. And I was at perfect peace during this time. The storm was just going on and tearing and howling. And I remember before I'd gone, to rest, and before the lights were gone, I looked outside. It was sort of like not a rain, but more like a mist, and it was just I could see it just whirling as when I went downstairs to look outside the door. And but after I got relaxed and what have you, the next morning, maybe about 4 o'clock, I got up, got my flashlight, and started looking around outside. I guess maybe about 4 or 5 o'clock. I don't know what time it was. And I could see that a lot of damage had been done across the street. The awning and everything had been torn. And then I saw my car sits right in front of my building, and it was just covered with leaves and trash and stuff. But no harm had come to my car. No harm had come to the front of my building. Then I went out back, and then I saw where my little fence, it was kind of shaky there in a way. It was torn down, and then there was a little damage to the side of my building where I had covered it, where sort of an enclosed room that I had there. But then I went out to the street where you carry a trash can. And all of this, I could tell all this damage had been done all around. But that was this trash can, my trash can that I put out on the street. And I put it out there several days ago, not really thinking I should have moved that trash can back up to the house. But I didn't. And that trash can, out of all of that hurricane wind and everything, that trash can had not moved. It was still sitting there. It was sitting there. And I was like, all of this damage all around us, and this garbage can sitting there at peace. The trash hadn't even been thrown out of it, and it was filled to the top. And it was just sitting there. I said, God, this has got to be a message in this right here. And I thought, I've heard this statement that God take care of babies and food. And I also thought about peace in the midst of a storm. When you can have peace in the midst of a storm. And I thought about the trash can as, we all got our problems. And if you just say, God says he sees our righteousness as filthy rags. And I thought about all the trash in that trash can. I thought about maybe that's my life. But nothing, no harm came to this trash can. In the midst of all of the damage that had been done around it. Now, when I say spiritual, that's what I mean. God talks to me through the simplest things. And the thing is, someone was just talking to me the day before about their trash. And they were saying something about their trash, and it came back to memory. That's why it's almost like God talked to you through just simple things. And they were talking about their trash. I think it was one of my fraternity brothers. He was saying something about the trash and I think he was saying something about the storm too. He was saying, it was just the day before because the storm was coming up. And he was down closer to the coastline. And so he was saying something about his neighbor needed to go get their trash in because their trash is going to be all over the place. And he just carried on about, the trash is going to be all over the place. Because he was going to probably get in his yard because of the storm. I think that's what he was talking about. And then for this to happen, I left my trash out on the curb. And not a bit in the midst of a hurricane. The trash can is still sitting there solid. And I thought, oh, that's a message right there. Oh, God. Then in the midst of a storm, having peace. And I have seen my life. I remember this guy who was a minister, and he used to say, and I think this when I realized he had gone through a divorce, and we used to go around preaching at different places. He would do most of the preaching. I'd just be there sort of kind of learning how to do this thing called preaching and whatever. And I would be in the pulpit with him, and he would use this example, and he would talk about his divorce. And he said it was like a hurricane that came through and this just destroyed everything that he had built. And I thought, and he was talking about how that appeared to be the work of Satan himself, the devil. And that's what the devil does. He comes to kill, steal, and destroy. And I thought, interesting. But you know what? That trash can was still standing in the midst of a hurricane. Well, isn't that a message right there for us? God knows you. He knows your problems. He knows your situation. And he knows everything about you and me. And our situations here with Trump in the country. And sometimes we just have to say, peace, be still. That's why I love these moments in the morning to come out and just sit here and be at peace. It's quiet. Now there's a message right there. Peace. Hello, family. This is Mr. E. If you would like to support the works of Mr. E or any of Ezells Productions, you may make your donations at Cash App. You will use $EKUFIE, EKUFIE, or you may make your payments through check or money order made out to Anthony Ezell or to Ezells Productions LLC. That address is P.O. Box 492, Jackson, Alabama 36545. Or you may contact us at the phone number of 251-709-1123. Thank you.